Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm an educator and coach with Fitch and Associates. Today we're looking at the 5 practices of exemplary leadership as outlined by Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner in their system, the Leadership Challenge. These researchers have collected lots and lots of data about what it takes to be an exemplary leader. They've asked thousands of people to describe the behaviors, the specific behaviors that they saw in leaders that were exemplary. And so they found that all of these behaviors that people were sharing all fell into 5 practices or categories. And so those categories are model the way, challenge the process, enable others to act, inspire a shared vision, and finally, encourage the heart. In this video, we're looking more specifically at encouraging the heart. It's about bringing a team together, improving communication, and really building a coalition that can address or handle just about anything. I think of it this way. Encouraging the heart is about that human need that each of us has to be seen and recognized and supported by others. You're the leader who gets to help meet that need for your team. That is something you get to do. So here's a description of an exhausting and miserable environment in the fashion retail industry. And this is where a leader wasn't encouraging her employees at all. Here's what an employee described. Her moods changed daily and were especially worse when we had suboptimal performance the previous day. She expected us to come to her office every morning when we arrived and to stop by again before leaving so that she could track the hours we worked each day. We were expected to answer specific questions on the spot, such as how many of X item had we sold in the last week, without being given the proper opportunity to pull up reports. When business was tough, she made it very clear how disappointed she was in us and that we needed to step it up. When we achieved results, however, we received nothing more than an insincere smile and were told to make sure we did the same the next day. Woof. Okay, just take that in. Here is a description of what it sounds like when an employee feels encouraged by their manager. My district manager was a complete turnaround from my previous manager. She was warm, welcoming, and encouraging of all of her team members. She believed that we all had the potential to do great things and so always expected the best of us. She made sure to make the time to sit with us and walk us through our business opportunities and weaknesses so that we could better tackle the problems at hand. She knew what it was like to be in our shoes and understood the challenges we faced on a daily basis. That's an environment of encouragement and trust, and that's going to go a long way to building the efficacy of your team. So if encouraging the heart is something that you'd like to incorporate more into your leadership style, I encourage you to incorporate 2 specific mindsets. Okay, two things to keep in mind as you embark on this journey. The first one is that you need to recognize contributions. Your team is making contributions left and right in all kinds of different ways. You can do this. You can recognize contributions by expecting the best from yourself and of your team. Expect the best. Don't fall into the downward spiral of doubting yours or others' abilities. You'd be surprised what we can accomplish if we believe others are rooting for us. Personalize that recognition in a way that feels right to you and your leadership style. Make it personal. It's one thing to buy a group of pizza. It's one thing to put a sign on the wall, congratulations, great job. It's another thing to go up to someone with a handshake. It's another thing to personally write a note and hand it to them or mail it to them and on a postcard so that their family can see it home. Get personally involved. Your team wants to see that you are recognizing them. The second mindset is to celebrate values and victories. Really celebrate. Bringing people together to rejoice in their achievements and reinforce your shared principles and values that improves employee engagement and satisfaction. Create a spirit of community by setting the tone for encouragement when it's due. And listen carefully to this. Get personally involved in the act of encouragement. That's an important mindset to have as we go forward. And so, like each of the other leadership styles, encouraging the heart has 6 behaviors that the researchers found feed into encouraging the heart. And so these 6 behaviors, I'm going to share each one at a time, and I invite you to, and I'll pause and let you think about that, but then I'll offer a couple questions for you to think about that behavior a little further. My hope is that you walk away with something you can add to your to-do list that helps you become a leader who encourages the heart of your team. So here's the first one, and these are in the form of I statements. So here's the first I statement. I praise people for a job well done. Is that something that you would say? I praise people for a job well done. How do you define praise? You can think about this one a little deeper. How do you define praise? What does that look like in your world? What kind of praise do you prefer? Is that repeatable toward others? Here's the second I statement, and these are all behaviors that feed into encouraging the heart. So do just one of these behaviors and you're on your way to being the kind of leader that encourages the heart. So here's the second statement. I make a point to let people know about my confidence in their abilities. I make it a point to let people know about my confidence in their abilities. So here are some questions for you. What determines capability? If I said, Laura is very capable of this, what do I mean by capable? What determines that? How would you describe that? How would you define that? Here's another question. How confident are you that each of your team members is capable of achieving what is needed for them? Are you confident that your team members are capable? Are you confident about that? Here is a third I statement, the third behavior. I make sure that people are creatively recognized for their contributions to the success of our projects. I make sure that people are creatively recognized. So here's a question for you to ponder. What is creatively? Why is that important here? Why is creatively important? Why is it important to recognize people for their contributions? Like, why is that even important? Why is it important to you? Is it important to you? Here's another question. How much peer-to-peer recognition do you see at work, on your team, in your department? Do you see peer-to-peer encouragement? If you do or if you do not, here's that next question. Why do you suppose that is? Why do you see peer-to-peer encouragement? Does somebody take initiative? Why do you not see peer-to-peer encouragement? Why is that? Here's the fourth I statement. I publicly recognize people who exemplify commitment to shared values. There's a lot of questions that we would be able to dissect this with, like, what are your shared values and what does recognition look like, and what does public recognition look like? But here's what I wonder. Would your team say that you publicly recognize them? Would you say, are you giving the same answer there? How do you do that? What would make you a better role model for recognizing others? And considering that you are the leader in this situation, you're the role model. So whatever it is that you're modeling, whether it's a lot or no recognition, that's the model and the precedent you're setting. Number 5, I tell stories of encouragement about the good works of others. So here's the question. How do you define a good story? How can a story be encouraging? What kind of stories would you like to be told about you? What kind of game plan do you need to move forward on this kind of storytelling? So listen, like any skill and like any practice at all, enabling others to act is about behaviors. It's about adding together simple behaviors that stack up to to become enabling others to act. So this is not about your personality. This is not about your character. This is not something inherent. It might seem that way, but encouraging others to act isn't something that you're born with. It's about doing or not doing certain actions or behaviors. So take on the challenge of stepping up your encouragement game. Pick one behavior from those 6 that I just listed. See it through. And here's some encouragement for you. You are someone who does hard things. You are someone who does hard things. You can adjust your behaviors. I believe that. And so hopefully you feel like there's a way to tackle that game plan for you to become a leader who encourages the heart, and what a gift you'll be to your team. I hope this video helps. Thank you.